Welcome back to Dan Fix High. I am Dan. Have you ever pressed a button on your remote and nothing happens? Today I'm going to show you why that happens and how to fix it step by step. A lot of people assume the remote is completely broken. In reality, most failures come from small issues that build up over time. Weak batteries, dust inside the case-worn contact points, or a thin layer of corrosion can all block the signal. These problems don't look serious, but they slowly reduce conductivity until the remote stops responding. In this video, I'll walk you through a simple method to bring it back to life using tools you already have at home. Start with a quick test. Point the remote toward a camera or your phone and press a button. Watch the front LED through the screen. If nothing flashes, the signal never leaves the remote. That tells us the issue sits inside the unit, not the TV. If you see a red blink, the remote still sends a signal and the problem may be elsewhere. This simple check helps narrow things down without opening anything. Now move to the battery compartment. Slide the cover open and remove the batteries. This step matters. You don't want any power running through the circuit while working inside. Set the batteries aside. We'll test them later and confirm whether they still deliver stable voltage under load. Next, open the remote housing. Turn it over and look for screws. Some models hide them under labels or inside the battery slot. If you don't see any, the case uses plastic clips. Take a thin, flat screwdriver, a plastic card, or even a fingernail and insert it into the seam. Work along the edge slowly. Don't force it. Move a little at a time until each clip releases. A steady motion prevents cracks and keeps the case reusable. With the case open, lift out the circuit board and the rubber keypad. Take a moment to look inside. You'll often find dust settled along the edges, fine particles around the buttons, and a light film on the contact pads. That film forms when dust mixes with humidity. Over time, it creates resistance at the exact points where the signal needs to pass. Even a thin layer can weaken the connection enough to stop a button from working. Now the cleaning starts, but this isn't just about wiping things down. Each part here plays a different role, so the way it's cleaned also changes. Take a paper towel or a soft cloth and wipe the circuit board. Keep it dry. Water introduces moisture, and moisture creates new problems. Wipe the rubber keypad, the plastic buttons, and the inner shell. This first pass removes loose debris and prepares the surface for a deeper clean. You'll notice how much dust comes off, especially around corners and edges. Now transition to a controlled clean using WD-40. Don't spray it directly onto the board. That's a common mistake. Instead, pour a small amount into a cap or a small cup. Dip a cotton swab lightly. You only need enough to dampen the tip. This method gives you control and prevents excess liquid from spreading into sensitive areas. Focus on the circuit board first. Look closely at the copper rings where each button makes contact. These rings carry the signal when you press a button. Place the swab on a contact ring and move it in small circular motions. Keep the movement gentle and precise. Work through each contact one by one. This takes time, but this is where the real improvement happens. Notice the surface as you clean. It may look slightly darker and more even. That's a good sign. The solution breaks down oxidation and lifts residue off the metal. It also pushes out trapped moisture. Clean metal allows current to flow smoothly, which restores the signal path. Now, flip the rubber keypad over. You'll see black carbon pads on the back of each button. These pads act as conductive bridges. When you press a button, the pad touches the copper ring and completes the circuit. If oil from your fingers or dirt covers these pads, the connection weakens or disappears. Take a fresh cotton swab. Lightly clean each carbon pad. Don't press too hard. These pads wear down if you scrub them aggressively. A gentle wipe is enough to remove contamination. After that, wipe the front side as well. While it doesn't carry current dust here, affects how the buttons feel and move. Move on to the plastic shell. Dust often collects along the edges and inside corners. Over time, it can fall back onto the board even after cleaning. Wipe both the inside and outside surfaces. Keep the motion light. The goal is to remove buildup, not to polish the plastic. At this point, everything looks cleaner, but more importantly, the contact surfaces are consistent. Again, that consistency matters more than appearance. It ensures each button press delivers a reliable signal. Let me pause for a moment. Where are you watching from, and have you ever opened a remote like this before? If you've tried a different method, share it in the comments. There's always something useful to learn from real experience. WD-40 works well here because it displaces moisture and breaks down light corrosion. You can also use it in other situations. It frees stuck hinges, protects metal from rust, and helps loosen tight parts. In this case, it restores electrical contact without damaging the board when used correctly. Now dry everything. Take a clean paper towel and wipe away any remaining residue. You don't want excess liquid left behind. Too much oil can attract dust later and undo your work. Now reassemble the remote. Place the rubber keypad back into the front shell. Align each button with its slot. Then set the circuit board on top. Make sure it sits flat and lines up with the internal guides. Close the back cover and press along the edges until each clip snaps into place. Before inserting the batteries, test them. Use a multimeter and measure the voltage. A reading of 1.5 to 1.6 volts looks fine at first glance. However, that measurement comes without load. When the remote draws current, a weak battery can drop below 1.2 volts. At that point, the signal becomes unstable. So even if the reading looks acceptable, keep that behavior in mind. Now, place the batteries back into the compartment, close the cover, and get ready to test. Point the remote again and press a button. Watch the LED. It should flash clearly with each press. That shows the signal returns. Then try it with the TV. Press the power button. The screen responds immediately. Change channels. Adjust volume. Each action confirms the repair worked. This process shows that most remote failures don't require replacement. With careful cleaning and a bit of attention, you can restore full function at home. If this helped you, leave a comment and share your experience. Tell me what worked for you or what you would try differently. And if you enjoy practical fixes like this, subscribe so you don't miss the next project.